Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss the two important components of option premium, that is the intrinsic value and time value of options. Before that, let's quickly recall what an option is. An option is a contract that gives a holder the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset at a predetermined price known as a strike price. So there are two types of options: call option, which gives a right to buy, and put option, which gives a right to sell. The price you pay to own this right is called as the premium. And this premium comprises of two components: intrinsic value and time value. Let's start with the intrinsic value. Think of it as a real value or inherent worth of the option if it were to be exercised today. So for the call options, the intrinsic value is a difference between the current price of the underlying asset, that is a spot price, and the strike price. So intrinsic value of the call option equals maximum of current price minus a strike price, or 0. For put option, it is a reverse. The intrinsic value is a difference between the strike price and the current price of the underlying asset. The intrinsic value of the put option equals maximum of strike price minus the current price, or 0. So the intrinsic value of an option can never be negative. If the intrinsic value is 0, the option is said to be out of the money. So let us assume the current price of a stock is 120 rupees. So you hold a call option with a strike price of rupees 100 and the option premium is rupees 32. So here the intrinsic value of the call option is maximum of 120 minus 100, or 0. So the call option has 20 rupees as real value. Whereas for the put option, the intrinsic value equals maximum of strike price minus the current price, or 0. So that is maximum of 100 minus 120, or 0, equals 0. So since the intrinsic value of the option cannot be negative, we consider it to be 0 here. Now let us discuss the time value. Time value reflects the potential for the option to gain value before it expires. So this component is based on the uncertainty of future price movements. Time value equals option premium minus the intrinsic value. Let us continue with the previous example. So the option premium is rupees 32. The intrinsic value of the call option is 20. So here the time value of the call option will be 32 minus 20, which is 12 rupees. So this 12 represents the market's expectation of favorable future price movements. And since the put option's intrinsic value is 0, the entire premium is made up of time value. So the option premium is 32, intrinsic value is 0, and the time value of the put option equals 32 minus 0, which is 32. Now let's work with some real-time data from the option chain. When Nifty 50 was at 24,272.45, we can analyze the intrinsic value and time value for both call and put options across the ATM, ITM and OTM strike prices. This table shows the selected data from the option chain. So the spot price here is 24,272.45 and we have three strike prices: 23,900, 24,250 and 24,550. Let's begin with the strike price 23,900. This is clearly an in the money option because the spot price is higher than the strike price. Therefore, the intrinsic value of the call option here is spot minus strike price, which gives us 372.45. And the time value will be premium minus intrinsic value, which gives us 67.95. Since this is in the money, the premium is higher because it includes both intrinsic and time value. For the put option, this is out of the money strike because the strike price is lower than the spot price. It has no intrinsic value and the premium of 44.3 is purely the time value. Let us move on to the strike price of 24,250. For the call option, this is an at the money strike because the spot price is close to the strike price. So the intrinsic value here is spot minus strike, which is 22.45. And the time value is premium minus intrinsic value, which is 156.5. So most of the premium here is time value, as the option still has potential to move to in the money. For the put option, this is an out of the money strike, and therefore there is no intrinsic value, and the entire premium of 132.25 is time value. Let's move on to the next strike price, 24,550. So for the call option, this is an out of the money strike because the spot price is below the strike price, and no intrinsic value, so the premium of 47.1 is purely the time value. Whereas for the put option, this is an ITM, that is in the money strike, because the strike price is above the spot price. So here the intrinsic value is strike minus spot price, which gives us 277.55. Whereas the time value is premium minus intrinsic value, which gives us 21.8. Notice how the time value is much smaller here because the option is deeply in the money. So here are the key learnings. OTM options don't have intrinsic value. Their premiums are entirely time value. The deeper in the money an option is, the more expensive the premium because intrinsic value is very high. The deeper OTM an option is, the cheaper it gets because it only has a time value. And please remember that the time value shrinks over time. As the expiration date approaches, the time value reduces and eventually becomes zero at expiration. So on the date of expiry, the option will have only intrinsic value. So to summarize, the intrinsic value represents the current real worth of the option, while the time value captures its future potential. So understanding these two components will help you make informed decisions when trading in options. So I hope this lecture has clarified the concepts. See you in the next video.